Yes, people, welcome back to Football's 12th Man. Welcome back to this channel. Welcome back to this show. Thought we'd do a little bit of a daily show, well, as best we can anyway, to keep people up to date with what's going on out there. Big up to all of you in the chat. Big up to Richo. Big up to Carol. Big up to Tammy. Big up to Gunner Vapes. Big up to Richie Boy. All of you being here so early. Fantastic. Please make sure you do me a favor. We, people, are at 19.5. That means we are less than 500 away from 20k. Please hit the subscribe button. We hit over 200 overnight, which is amazing. If everybody that's listening to this now can hit like and subscribe, we will hit 20k. So please make sure that we do that. That's all I ask. I don't expect you to put money into the channel. I don't expect you to send super chats, but I do expect a bare minimum, which is to like and subscribe, because it's free content and it does me the world of good. It does the channel so good. So please, let's get to 20k as quickly as we can. If we can get to 20k by the end of this week, I'll love you all forever. So please make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, then welcome. Thank you so much for supporting. Thank you all so much for returning as well. For those of you in the chat that always here, means a lot to me. If you do want one of these canvases behind me with a gun on it, then please make sure that you do email Russell Hogg at russellhoggphotography@hotmail.com, and he will be able to tell you how much they are so you can get them. If you tell him you know me and you're a gooner, he'll sort you out. All right, so make sure that you do that, please, people. Really important. And please make sure that you support the sponsors of the channel, Football Prizes, who at the moment I've got a fantastic Martin Odegaard shirt out. So make sure that you are going over there to footballprizes.co.uk, where you can win a signed Martin Odegaard shirt. So please make sure that you do that ASAP as well. I know there's a lot of talk at the moment in the chat and on the news about Kevin Campbell. I won't be talking about it on this stream because he's extremely private, and so are his family. So we were going to leave it at that and not mention anything on that until, of course, the news comes out of an update. So I will not be mentioning that. Of course, our thoughts go out to Kev and his family. Massive part of this show and channel and other channels that I've been on. So we send thoughts with his family, of course, but we're not going to mention too much more about that because, of course, that's what they are asking for as a family. Listen, let's talk about football, shall we? Arsenal fans undecided on Sesko. We're going to mention Benjamin Sesko, why people are undecided on him, what people actually want up top at Arsenal, because it looks like number 9 for Arsenal is a position that not just, let's be real, Arsenal fans want, but even rival fans. I was listening to Saeed's show earlier with the boys talking about number 9 being a problem at Arsenal still. When it comes to midfield, we're going to talk about a player that I have been talking about for a while now, since I saw him against us for Monaco, Youssouf Fofana, a player that people were talking about even before that game. I watched him, thought he was perfect for what we want, and I've started to look a little bit more into him. We're going to talk about why that could be a fantastic signing for Arsenal. We're also going to decide and get you guys involved in a little bit of a debate. Emil Smith-Rowe or Fabio Vieira? If you can only choose one, which one are you picking? We'll get back into that in a minute. And there's, of course, some defender links. I mentioned yesterday that Arsenal were linked with the Barcelona defender, Faye. I don't know much about him, but we also have links with Harto we're going to mention as well. And, of course, there's been links previously to other defenders and other names. I'm going to mention Kylian Mbappe and what that might mean for Real Madrid moving forward. Without stating the obvious, it's very good news, that's for sure. So that's what we're going to talk about on today's show. Please put any questions you got in. Please put any super chats you've got in. They will get read out on the screen. There we go. Let's talk about it, shall we? Shall we talk about Benjamin Sesko, people? Because a lot of people are saying already, without even this guy kicking a ball, that it's a poor signing. I don't understand that, because the guy's not kicked a ball yet. I need to see this guy in an Arsenal shirt before I start to get too excited. I need to see him in an Arsenal shirt before I write him off. It's just the way it works. Aaron Ramsdale, I was the same with. When we signed him and everybody said calamity signing, don't understand it, got relegated with Sheffield United, didn't do anything for Bournemouth. Well, that worked out all right. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not ended out all right for him, but that's not his fault. David Raya has come in through preference of the manager, not because Ramsdale is a poor goalkeeper. But when he came to Arsenal, I remember people going mad. Kai Havertz is another one. People going absolutely mental, losing their heads. You've got to see the guys kick the ball first. Now, with Ramsdale, I knew straight away, wow, he's really going to be a good player. With Havertz, I weren't sure and I weren't convinced and I had concerns. But of course, he started to grow into it. And that's why we need to look at it in a positive light at times and say, look, let's at least give these guys a chance to actually kick a football before we start to say they'd be good or bad signings. And Benjamin Sesko's in that bracket. He's just turned 21. He's got 13 goals. He's behind the other top scorer for Leipzig, Pender, I think they say his name as. And at the back end of the season, Sesko was really looking good. If you remember, Leipzig had Manchester City, and Man City fans did say they mentioned him and said, yep, he was good, as was Pender. And I think obviously Xavi Simons is being mentioned as one of those players that was quite attacking and creative. And we've spoken about him before and how he could be available for loan. What a player he would be signing-wise for Arsenal. Then I have to look at it and say the price tag at 45 to 50 million would be probably half of what Victor Osimhen would cost, would be a lot less than a fee of a Tony or Watkins, and would be a lot less of a fee for Victor Gyökeres. So if we're looking at that as being the number one target and the priority, Benjamin Sesko, we have to at least look at where we might spend the extra dollar. So I'm not going to lose my head over this one. It doesn't make me go, wow, that is a statement. It doesn't make me excited that Arsenal are now going to win the league because Sesko is the guy that we're missing. Where I do kind of find it a bit harsh is we're buying another Havertz. We ain't seen him kick a ball, guys. We can't compare him to anybody. Yeah. I'll tell you what we can't do. We can't compare him to Havertz or Jesus, and we can't compare him to Haaland and Zlatan, because I'm hearing all four of those names. This is another Jesus who don't really score many. This is another Havertz who's not a number 9. This is another potential Haaland or Zlatan. What one is it then? Because I can't hear that he's another Haaland before I've seen him kick a ball, and you can't tell me he's another Kai Havertz before he's wore the Arsenal shirt. It's mad. So if we're going to sit here, be realistic about it now, and you're going to tell me that the forwards for Arsenal are going to be Kai Havertz, Jesus, and Sesko, that is better than Kai Havertz, Jesus, and Eddie. So that might be a real negative way to look at it, or maybe an over positive way to look at it. If you look at it different ways, it might be, oh, Dan's excited because Sesko is better than Eddie. That's not the point. The point is we've upgraded on a position, and we are not going to stop there. We're not going to buy Benjamin Sesko and go, right, let's go again. There's going to be other areas of the team that we strengthen, man. Who knows who's going to be in our midfield? Who knows what's going to happen for the Saka position? Who knows what defender we're getting in? Who knows what's happening with the goalkeeping situation? Nobody does. We're all guessing at the moment. It's all rumours. But I do believe that there's going to be a couple of weeks where I think people will want to get some players in before this Euro starts. Now, Benjamin Sesko is going to be playing in the Euros. In fact, he's actually, got a look at playing England for Slovenia. He's Slovenia's number 9, I believe. So let's just calm down a bit with the whole massive positivity and massive negativity. We have no idea what Benjamin Sesko is going to be like. We don't know. We don't know. Now, on the channel the other day, Mo thought it was a weird signing. Pete thought it was a great signing. That's how different it can be. We're hearing people go, that's another Havertz. We're hearing the other side say that could be a Zlatan or Haaland. It's mad. It's total madness for me hearing all of this. I can't make sense of it. So all we can do is wait and see what the striker looks like at Arsenal, and then we can move to the other positions. Now, if Benjamin Sesko is going to come in to the side and add 10 to 15 goals on top of what Havertz got this season, which was 14 goals, Saka, who I think got 18 goals, and then if Trossard and Martinelli can continue the form of Martinelli last season and the form of Trossard this season, we've got plenty of goals in this team. We didn't lose the league because Arsenal didn't score 30 or 40 more goals. That wasn't the issue. We didn't need a number 9 this season to put chances away in the majority of our games. There was a handful where I thought maybe a number 9 buries a couple of those. But would that have won us the league? There's a question mark to that. It's not no. It could have. But we don't know that. I think, the reason we lost to Villa, was that because we didn't have a striker? The reason that we lost to West Ham or Fulham away, I don't know. I think as a team, we were poor. I don't think it was Arsenal were the best side. but with a number 9, we win the game. I would say maybe West Ham at home and Liverpool at home in the Cup were the only 2 I can think of where I think, yeah, number 9 and we win that game. The Bayern Munich games, the Villa game, the Fulham away game, even the Fulham at home game, Stamford Bridge away. Was that really down to a lack of a number 9? Come on, man. Not for me. Not for me, it weren't, right? So I think you've got to be realistic there. And we got to give this guy time. We got to give this guy time, man. If he does come in, because at 21, you can't expect that. Now, is that the right thing to do? That's a different debate. That's a different debate. That's what Mikel Arteta and they do. If they don't believe that they need a ready now striker now, and they're going for Sesko, that is not Sesko's fault. If he gives 6 months to settle in, or maybe 6 weeks to settle in, a little bit like Kai Havertz, by the way, who was right in the mix for Premier League proven, but he needed some time. So this guy's going to need time. And that's where my kind of question mark is on why this signing would be good. A lot of people are saying that Tony or Watkins would be better because they're Premier League proven. A lot of people are saying that Osimhen is a different level to Benjamin Sesko. Some people are saying that Gyökeres would be a much better striker than Benjamin Sesko. Who knows? It looks like Sesko is the one we're going for. And with that 45 million price tag, we've got a lot more money to spend in midfield. And I do think that midfield option, it needs to be someone exciting. It needs to be De Jong, Barella, Bruno Guimaraes levels for us to get excited. But I think at the moment, out of those 3, Bruno's the one that looks more likely to leave. I don't think De Jong or Barella are going to go anywhere. Barella looks to be signing a new deal at Inter Milan. De Jong, I don't think he's wanting out at Barcelona like some people are suggesting. And at the moment, the 2 names that are looking to be mentioned with Arsenal was both Zubamendi and Fofana, who's leaving Monaco. Now, we're not heavily linked with Fofana or Zubamendi, but if I was to say to you out of the 2 or 3 signings that we'd be looking to get, I think Zubamendi and Fofana are at a 6 and an 8. I think we could do worse, if I'm honest with you. I think Zubamendi at 50 million release clause, Fofana around 25 million. Maybe spending, 100 million pound on a striker is spend 50 on a 6, 25 on an 8, and 50 on a striker, and then you've got some money for a defender and a right winger. Are we going to go down that road? Is Arsenal and Arteta looking at things that way? So I honestly don't mind how much we spend on players. I just want there to be the window shut and us to go, we've covered all positions here. Like, this is impressive. Doesn't matter now whether Saka gets a knock. Doesn't matter if Odegaard, Saliba, Rice, if they get a knock, we can actually replace them. We don't have to rely on Eddie or Reece Nelson anymore, or Fabio Vieira. Don't have to rely on Zinchenko. Don't have to rely on El Neni or Cedric or players like this. So that's where I'm at, as long as that window looks good. Now, let's talk a little bit about Fofana and should Arsenal go for him. Fofana is everything that I like about a midfielder. I've got to say it. He's a box-to-box, physical presence, attributes that look very similar to the likes of players that have done well in the Premier League in the past. He's got the stature and presence of a Yaya Toure, Patrick Vieira. And if he's half as good as either of those, I'll take him. Let me tell you that. 25 million, it's not a massive risk. It's not a signing you look at to go, wow, that could go wrong. I think he's a good age. He's one of the ones that have been playing well in France, was absolute dominant when he played us in the Emirates Cup. Really good threat from set pieces, both defensively and offensively, which I think is important at Arsenal in the way that we play. And I've got to say that for 25 million, I'd buy him on top of who we're getting in midfield. That would probably be one of my first signings. If I was in charge right now, that's who I'd get, because he's easily gettable. Manchester United are interested. I think Liverpool and Chelsea were looking at him. Well, Chelsea's looking at everyone, let's be real. But Arsenal have to be in for this, because I think he'd be a fantastic signing. And him and Kefren Turam are the 2 that I have mentioned in the past about being what we need in terms of that kind of box-to-box role. But I think Declan Rice has only got the know-how of what to do at Arsenal. I don't think that number 8 role suits anybody other than Declan Rice right now. And that's got to change. It can't be Rice playing every single game as an 8 and praying that Partey or Jorginho make it. I think we've got to go and get a number 8 and play Rice in the 6 and have Partey and Jorginho as backup. And then if Rice needs to go in the 8, then he can. So I think that's where I'd be at. Now, a lot of people would say that we might need a creative midfielder as well if Vieira or Smith-Rowe were to go. And maybe we'll look at that. Depends how much we get. It really does. And that's where we want to move next. I'm going to put a poll in the chat about who you would rather keep at Arsenal. Now, a lot of people will say that they would rather keep Smith-Rowe. Let's do this now. Who would you rather keep? ESR or Vieira? Now, I'd be interested to know what your thoughts are on this, because I personally am going to go with Smith-Rowe, and I'll tell you why. Who would you rather keep, ESR or Vieira? Start poll. Right, there we are. It's in the chat. Let me know what your thoughts are. I've got to say this. I just don't rate Fabio Vieira. I'm sorry. I know people don't like it. People don't seem to want to hear it. People believe he's going to come good. They want to believe that Arteta and Edu have seen a Bernardo Silva in him. I'm afraid he's not going to be a Bernardo Silva. I'm afraid he's not even going to be an Olivier Bernard. I just think the guy is absolutely weak as weak can be, pushed off the ball, lightweight, can't intercept, can't tackle. Rumours of him not training well, I don't know how true. Rumours of him definitely leaving Arsenal, don't know how true. But if it was me, I would keep hold of Emil Smith-Rowe. Now, that's Vieira. Let's talk about Smith-Rowe. What we've got with Smith-Rowe is still a lot of potential at 23 years old. What we've got with Smith-Rowe is a player that loves the club. What we've got with Smith-Rowe is someone who definitely doesn't have problems training that we've never heard about anyway. What we've got with Smith-Rowe is, although injury problems, when he's not playing every game, I'm sure can get through the season. What we've also got with Smith-Rowe is a player that can play in a number of positions. I've seen Smith-Rowe wide right, wide left, and through the middle. And I think he's got the option to play false 9. That's why I'm keeping him. That's why I'm keeping him, because versatility is massively key. And versatility is massively key with your backup players, right? Your backup players are massively key. So when people say, Saka can play there, for example, he actually can't. He can play in a number of positions, but just go with me. That's fine because he plays there, but your backup, it's good if they're versatile. And the perfect example for that is Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu can play right back, left back, or centre back. And it's fantastic because he's back up, right? When you look at what we've got with Vieira, I don't really know what his position is, because he's played in the 8, he's played in the 10, he's played left, he played right, and he ain't played very well in any of them. And if I'm honest with you, my favourite position for him was probably when he came on the left-hand side. Because if I think of his moments that Vieira's had, and there's not many, they've come from the left-hand side. If you remember the left-hand side, he created the goal for Ødegaard against Wolves away on New Year's. Was it Christmas? Might have been Christmas last year, before we broke up for the World Cup. If you remember Fabio Vieira against Aston Villa last year, where Jorginho smashed it in and it come off of Emi Martinez's head. If you remember Martinelli's goal straight after that to make it 4-2, the weight of pass from Vieira was perfect, and Fabio Vieira was playing on the left. If you remember this season just gone, the first few games, the game against Fulham, he crossed the ball to Eddie Nketiah, and we made it 2-1. And guess who passed him the ball from the left? Fabio Vieira. And against Forest, believe it or not, Eddie Nketiah got set up by Fabio Vieira on the left. So his best position for me is actually another left winger, and we don't need another left winger. We've got Martinelli, we've got Trossard, Saka can play there if he has to, Smith-Rowe can play there if he has to, Jesus can play there if he has to. Left wing is not a position we need, which is why I am not surprised to see the links to Marcus Rashford just completely dissipate, because for me that is just not something we needed. So I honestly feel like Vieira is the one that might have to go out of the two. The last thing I'll say on this, Mikel Arteta definitely has more of a chance of playing Smith-Rowe and believing in Smith-Rowe, because when he brought him on against Everton, that to me proved that having to not use Reece Nelson, Fabio Vieira, all the other guys, he went for Smith-Rowe. And I don't think that was a shop window thing. I really don't. I don't think he's shown enough for me to believe that Eddie, Reece and Fabio are being kept and Smith-Rowe's going, so we use him to be put in the shop window. Now, if Fulham are serious about buying Emil Smith-Rowe, they're going to have to start the bidding at 30 million for us to even think about it, in my opinion. 23 years old, English tax, a player that can play in a number of positions, a player with a high ceiling, somebody who's been likened to the likes of Jack Grealish at a young age. If they get anything like that sort of player, they're going to have to be paying the price for it. I don't want to be loaning him out with an obligation to buy of 25 million if he does well. We've got to start with a 30 million price tag on him, at least, for me. Now, Ipswich Town were actually looking at him. I just don't think Emil Smith-Rowe wants to go to that level. And I'll big up to Ipswich, by the way, and big up to Kieran McKenna, but I just don't think he will. A team like Fulham, West Ham, Palace would make sense because that is a team that he can stay in London with and actually get in the first team and grow with. So let's see. Let's see what happens. It will be interesting, won't it, to look at who we can actually try to have a bidding war with for players like that if it does get to that stage. But if it was me, I would sell him if it was 30 for 35 million. Otherwise, I'm keeping him and I'm selling Vieira. And yes, we're not going to get more than 15 to 20 million for Vieira, but I don't care. I really don't care. It doesn't bother me. So that's where I'm at with Vieira and Smith-Rowe. Now let's come to defender links. This is a strange one for me. I can't work this one out. Maybe you guys can help me. Before we do that, let's go to the poll. What's the poll at the moment? Smith-Rowe at 78% or 79% now, and Vieira at 22%. So listen, I think we're all in agreement here that Smith-Rowe is the guy that we keep hold of. 100%. Let's end it there. 78, 79, 21. There we go. We've ended it there. Smith-Rowe. He gets the nod. Let's talk about the defender link, shall we? I honestly believe the defence is a little bit of a confusion for Arsenal fans right now. And I'll tell you why. Who do we sell? Who do we keep? Well, we know the back line is going to be White, Gabriel Saliba, and Timber. That's what I believe it will be. I think Tomiyasu is an absolute must to stay because he's a squad player. And then we decide what to do with the likes of Kivior, Zinchenko, Tierney, and Tavares. But we've been linked with left centre-backs and left-backs. We're linked with what's his name? Yoel Harto. We're linked with Ferdi Kadioglu from Fenerbahce. We're linked with Faye from Barcelona, who's been playing at left back and left centre back. So it's clear that we want that position. I would argue that we're actually as short on the right side as the left side. Because if we're going to sell Tierney, Tavares, and Zinchenko, we literally have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders. Yeah, no, 6, sorry, Kivior. So we would have Gabriel and Kivior left centre-back, Saliba and Tomiyasu or Ben White right centre-back, Ben White and Timber or Tomiyasu right back, and Timber and Tomiyasu left back, or Kivior left back. So we've got kind of 6 players that can play in a number of positions, apart from Gabriel and Saliba, who will stay as centre-backs. Some people like that. Some people would like 7. Some people would like 8. So you've got 2 right backs, 2 left backs, and 4 centre backs. So where are we short? Who do we keep? Personally, I would get rid of Zinchenko. I would sell Tierney because he's not wanted. I would sell Tavares because he's not wanted. And I would bring in a right-sided centre back. That's what I would do. I wouldn't bring in another left-sided centre back. So I would have Gabriel and Kivior as your left-sided centre backs. I would have Saliba and somebody like Diomande as your right-sided centre backs. Ben White and Tomiyasu at right back, and Timber and Tomiyasu at left back. So you've basically got Ben White, Tomiyasu, and Timber that can play right-sided and left-sided, and you've still got Kivior that can play left-sided. So we'd still, some people would say, be one short, but actually it would make more sense if we brought in that, because then you've got literally cover for every single position there. But at the moment, if we're getting rid of Zinchenko and we're getting rid of Tierney and Tavares, I'm bringing in one left-sided centre-back. We've kind of got Gabriel, Kivior, and a left-sided centre-back that can all play left-sided centre-back. And then we haven't got enough right-sided centre-backs or left-backs. It's very, very all up in the air at the moment at Arsenal. And I understand that there's versatility needed, but let's not make it confusing. Yeah, let's not make it confusing. That's where we're at. Where are we with a question? There was one that come out and it was really quite funny and it did make me laugh. Where are we? Here we go. Matt. Off topic, but what's your favourite squash, Dan? I always see you sipping it midstream. Yes, I do. It's between two. It's between Ribena and Vimto. That's where I'm at with squash. What's your favourite squash in the chat? There we go. Off topic, but it's quite funny. It did make me smile. So, yeah, Dan drinking mate like medicine. Yeah, let me know your favourite because there's definitely a couple of people that have mentioned to me drinking, and it's definitely not alcohol, by the way. Let me tell you that. Strawberry Ribena from Aaron, fair play. I like Ribena. I like Vimto. I prefer blackcurrant drinks to orange squash drinks. Let me tell you that. That's for sure. So, are you getting paid sponsorship? No, I'm not. I'm just drinking a drink, mate. But yeah, that is my favourite, I must say. That's my favourite squash. So there we go. Nourishment is being one. Grapefruit squash. Hot. Yeah, I can't be dealing with it hot, mum. I'm sorry. Grapefruit, I don't like grapefruit. Anyway, we're going off topic now. We're talking about squash, and we really wish we talk about football. So that's the defender links. Before we wrap up, I wanted to talk about Kylian Mbappe's move to Real Madrid because I think it's important to mention it. Kylian Mbappe is an unbelievable player, okay? For what he's won at his age, for what he's done at his age, is incredible. But until he does it on the big stage for a club, I can't say that he's better than Vinicius Jr. And that might be a real wild take for some people. That might be a mad opinion. I think Vinny will get the Ballon d'Or. Most amount of take-ons, unbelievable amount of goals, brilliant in the Champions League. Pretty much drove them forward. Yes, he dives and rolls around the floor, but so did Neymar and so did a lot of players. But I think the guy's ridiculous. And people might say this is a mad take, but I think he's better than Mbappe. I really do. I think he's better than Mbappe. And until Mbappe proves me wrong, I'm going to stick with Vinny Jr. Now, where does he play at Real Madrid? A lot of people are saying who drops out. I don't think any of them are going to drop out because Vinicius Jr. will stay left, Rodrigo will stay right, and Mbappe, I think, will go down the middle. I don't think they're going to move anybody out the team. They're not going to play Mbappe left and put Vinny on the right. They're not going to put him on the bench. They're not going to play him through the middle. It'll be Mbappe through the middle, I'm sure. Surely. And they'll switch it around potentially if they have to, but I don't think they will have to. I think Kylian Mbappe will definitely go through the middle. And then it will be on the left-hand side, Vinny Jr., right-hand side, Rodrigo. That's where I'm at. So I don't really understand why this is massive question mark over who's going to leave Real Madrid. None of them are. They've got an unbelievable side. We might have more chance of going for one of their midfielders than their wide players. I will tell you that. Because they've got Bellingham who's going to drop back into there. They've got Valverde. They've got Camavinga. They've got Tchouaméni. They've obviously got Modric. Kroos is now gone. We've got more chance of getting one of their players in midfield than we have wide or up top. Maybe Tchouaméni doesn't start and Camavinga gets ahead of him and they go Camavinga, Valverde and Bellingham. Maybe Valverde drops out and they go with Tchouaméni, Camavinga and Bellingham and we go for Valverde. This is more of a chance for Arsenal to actually look at a Real Madrid midfielder than a striker or a winger. We've got no hope of getting any of them. So when people were talking about Rodrigo and talking about Vinny Jr., I'm like, look, this isn't going to happen. I'm sorry to disappoint, but it is not going to happen. Kylian Mbappe is going to do wonders at Real Madrid, I'm sure of it. He's a fantastic footballer. And I think it'll be very interesting to see how they get on. I think adding that to Real Madrid's 15th Champions League is the cherry on the cake. And Carlo Ancelotti staying for a couple of years and probably looking to retire or take a break for a while after it is probably the best news they could have got. I think Bellingham's getting a lot of harsh stick. I don't really understand why people were so against Bellingham. The other night, he wasn't great. He assisted the goal. He wasn't fantastic. He was a little bit invisible, but come on, man. The guy's got an unbelievable amount of goals and assists for Real Madrid at 20 years old. Come on. Let's just be real. It's just absolutely crazy. Tammy says, Chelsea have signed the Leicester manager. Yeah, that's been confirmed today as well. Maresca, I've given you my thoughts on that. I think it's a weird signing. I don't think Chelsea are going to be any better with him than Poch. I don't think Chelsea with a window that's been replicated of the last couple will be anything scary other than top four next year, potentially. I just think it's a mess. And I've said that. The ownership are crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I can see a little bit of a merry-go-round with Chelsea. I'm afraid if you're a Chelsea fan, I can see it being recycling, going round and round and round, and get another manager in. And if they don't fight for top 7 this season and they go 8th, 9th around February time, they'll sack him next season. It's just mad. Absolutely mad. It really is. So let's see what Chelsea do. But let's be real. Who actually cares? Chelsea, by the way, interested in Sesko. That is one rumour. But I believe he's got more preference of coming to Arsenal than Chelsea. He likes the project, from what we're being told, more than Chelsea, which is why I think we should be all over the Elise rumour, because Elise, for me, is one that Arsenal could definitely use. And people will say he won't come because of Saka, but actually, we need a squad, and he can come to a project to know that he could be a massive part of Arsenal, looking to try and win some trophies in the next coming, 4 or 5 years this project is set up to do. So let's make sure we can deliver, man. I'm a big, big fan. If we can't get Elise and the Pedro Neto rumours are actually true, which what I saw yesterday, we were sniffing around again, I'll be very happy to go and get him. I think that Pedro Neto is a baller. Can play left and right. Injury problems are an issue, but he can play on both sides, and he's Premier League proven. When fit, I think he's phenomenal. I actually think he's got more to his game than a lot of wingers in the league as well. I think he's an absolute baller. So, yeah, I can see why people are looking at Elise and Neto. Guys, we're going to leave it there. Do me a favour, please. Make sure you go over to footballprizes.co.uk. Get yourself in with a chance to win the Martin Odegaard signed framed jersey. Make sure you go and email russellhogphotography@hotmail.com to get one of these behind me on the wall. He will sort you out if you're a gooner. Tell him you know me. And do me a favour. There's well over 200 of you still watching. How many likes do we have? Only 70. Only 70. Do you know what? Do me a favour. Hit the subscribe button first. I'd much rather you hit subscribe today than like. I want you to hit both because it's free. But really and truly, I want you to hit subscribe because we're so close to 20k. It's 19.5, which means we are under 500 away from hitting 20k. And that target would be amazing. If we can try and do that by the end of this week, it would be fantastic for me. So please make sure you do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe button. 2 buttons that are absolutely free. Do it now or do it after the show as you leave. Please do that. It would mean the world. It makes the channel grow. It helps myself. It gives us exposure and it allows people to see the comments and the channel as well. So please hit like and subscribe as you leave. We're going to love you and leave yourselves. Take it easy, people. Be back tomorrow. And as always, up the Arsenal. Laters, people.